Hey, Chris Johnson, I gotta give a yeehaw because we do have some breaking news in GameStop. This one is gapping down lower pre-market. Chris, have you been watching GameStop? And look how it could not, as it gapped higher on earnings. Guys, check this out. Look how it could not close above the point of control. Point of control coming down there, slamming GameStop lower. There is a thin zone here, Chris. I see this one reverting back to 2130.
You know what? You break down there and you get back in the Bollinger Band. Vaz, I see it pulling back to a 20. Just type it up as a round number support at 20 right now. And how strange is it that it's right after they beat by 29 cents and shoot the stock through the roof by 40%? Let me ask you this. We haven't talked about the apes and everybody out there. Carvana's acting up again. You've got GameStop that's acting up again, and they got a little bit of fodder there. What are you feeling on the Redditors trading again? Is that trade going to come back alive right now? Or are they going to get pushed off by the financial situation?
I think that the Reddit army is the underdog in the fight against this market action to the downside.
Well, that sounds like a movie intro we should be cutting, or at least something, a promo for a movie there. If you could just say it in
Now listen here, cowboy. This ain't big enough for the two of us. And I see.
No, all right. Wrap that up. Shut it down. All right, so GameStop. Yeah, GameStop looking like it's going to make a big pull today. And you know what? This is the old. Think about it from this perspective, too. Everybody think about this. Stock pops 38% yesterday, right? Takes off, goes up to that 200-day moving average. 200-day moving average has been a arch nemesis of a lot of stocks on these rallies. Google managed to get through it right now, but it's still got that magnetic force. This is probably just a case of people saying, well, hell, I owned it at $15 or $16 just a couple days ago. Now it traded up 25, 28. I'm just going to take my profits. Kenny mentioned that earlier today, and I think that's something Garrett's obviously mentioned. At some point, people just look to take profits when they've got them in a market that otherwise is stingy. Your thoughts?
Oh, man. Big Cap is trolling me right now in the chat about my cowboy impression. Hey, Big Cap. Do you need some more cowbell to get over it? I'll help you there. All right, guys, let's talk markets here. CJ, we had a monumental moment yesterday. Stocks rallied initially on the Fed, on Jerome Powell, and then just started to get crushed, and a total capitulatory event yesterday. Check out what happened in SPY. I was looking at my trades here. We could not get above this big volume node here, which I mentioned yesterday on the close and into the close. These nodes in the volume profile, they are pressure. It is very hard to get over this, regardless of what Jerome Powell says or doesn't say. Whatever the case is, we could not get above that area. And now we're seeing pressure again. We closed below the point of control. Now we're retesting it pre-market. Again, CJ, this is going to be a lot of pressure. I think that the bears have it today.
Yeah, I think they do. This pre-market activity, and we've seen this day in, day out, right? Where the bulls come in, and that's why I was asking Kenny about this. The pre-market activity has the cubes trading up 1% right now, 1.05%. And when the real volume comes in, we'll see that first 15, 20 minutes, I think you see a little bullish activity. But in terms of the rest of the market and how it's looking at everything from banks to real estate, I mean, everybody's looking in one corner of the market, Vaz. What is it?
The sector, the banks, or tech?
No. Tech. They are all wrapping their arms around tech and just, like they haven't seen it in 5 years and just embracing it right now.
They haven't seen it in 5 years.
Yeah. It all comes from that safety trade comment last week. I mean, that is either the best thing or one of the most dangerous things that happened to this market when it was suggested that, the NASDAQ 100 and specifically Apple is a safety trade out there. You could be setting yourself up for, that old crowded trade that I hate so much. And it's not that I hate Apple, love their products, but when everybody crowds into that one area, And I think I got the sneaking suspicion that a lot of people are pulling money out of energy right now because that can't seem to get a bid, and putting it into large cap tech. It just moves the problem from one area of the market to the other, right? And
Hey,
eventually,
let's look at energy because
what?
Bandit at the top of the show begged me, Vaz, can you look at Oxy twice, OXY? What are you seeing in energy, particularly Oxy,
So
Occidental?
I saw, if you looked at it yesterday, you saw an interesting divergence. You saw oil going up. So USO and oil, the actual, the trade on oil moving higher. And this morning you're seeing it again. You've got a 62.40 bid on the USO and it's 61.60. So you're going to grab another 80 cents right at the open off of the USO. But at the same time, Vaz, we saw XES, we saw the XLE, we saw all the operators, all the energy companies go the other direction and not really confirm the trend in oil. Now, that can happen for a day and it can be kind of oh, that was a weird thing. But if we start seeing that over the next couple of days, it can suggest two different things. Number one, that thing I just mentioned about Apple, a crowded trade is an odd thing to try to trade. Whenever you're in a crowded stock, I can remember being in Apple and Microsoft, believe it or not, back in the early 2000s. And Microsoft, they were beating the pants out of Apple. I mean, it was the stock to be in because who cared about a little thing that played music, right? And then when the iPhone came out and they continued to innovate, everybody grabbed their money and went from Microsoft into Apple. It creates a crowded trade where you have to think of it from the perspective of potential sellers that are now in that stock, not buyers, because they came off the sidelines. I think that's what we saw in the energy sector for the last year or so. Remember, it was the top performer last year, beat the NASDAQ 100, beat everything else. So everybody felt like oil is a nice, safe place to be. We're going to continue to see demand, et cetera, et cetera. If you're heading into a recession, demand for energy goes down. I mean, that's it. Demand for
Yeah.
trucking goes down. I think people are migrating now from that trade and they're going straight into technology.